The story of New York City's architecture begins in the early 17th century. Dutch settlers established New Amsterdam on the southern tip of Manhattan Island. These early structures were modest and practical. They reflected the Dutch architectural traditions of the time. Buildings were typically constructed of wood and brick. They often featured distinctive stepped gables. These gables were a common sight in Dutch cities. Few examples of this early architecture remain today. However, their legacy can be seen in the city's street grid. Wall Street, for example, takes its name from the wall that once protected the early settlement. The Dutch colonial period laid the foundation for New York City's architectural future. It established a tradition of practicality and adaptability. These qualities would continue to shape the city's built environment for centuries to come. As New Amsterdam grew into a thriving port city, its architecture began to reflect the evolving aspirations of its inhabitants. The 18th century ushered in a new era for New York City. The city came under British rule and was renamed New York. Georgian architecture became the dominant style. This style reflected the city's growing prosperity and sophistication. Georgian buildings were characterized by their simple elegance and symmetrical facades. They were typically constructed of brick. They featured decorative elements inspired by classical architecture. These elements included columns, pediments, and cornices. Townhouses became a common sight in the city's wealthier neighborhoods. These houses were often built in rows. They featured spacious interiors and elegant detailing. Public buildings such as churches and government offices also adopted the Georgian style. They reflected the city's growing importance as a center of commerce and culture. The Georgian era left an enduring mark on New York City's architectural landscape. It established a tradition of order and refinement that would continue to influence the city's design for generations to come. The symmetrical facades and classical details of Georgian buildings can still be seen today in neighborhoods like Greenwich Village and Brooklyn Heights. The American Revolution brought about significant changes in New York City. The city became the first capital of the newly formed United States. Its architecture reflected the nation's newfound independence and aspirations. The federal style emerged as a distinctly American interpretation of classical ideals. Federal-style buildings were characterized by their restrained elegance and Palladian influences. They often featured arched windows, delicate fanlights, and oval-shaped rooms. Architects drew inspiration from the Roman Republic. They sought to create buildings that embodied the principles of democracy and civic virtue. One of the most iconic examples of federal architecture is Federal Hall. This building stood at the corner of Wall Street and Broad Street. It served as the first Capitol building of the United States. George Washington was inaugurated as the first president of the United States on the balcony of Federal Hall in 1789. The federal style represented a pivotal moment in New York City's architectural history. It marked a departure from European precedents and the emergence of a uniquely American architectural identity. The style's emphasis on simplicity, order, and civic pride would continue to resonate in the city's architecture for years to come. Section 4, Victorian Flourish, Romanticism, and the Rise of Eclecticism. This period marked a significant transformation in the architectural landscape of New York City, blending various styles and influences. The 19th century witnessed a period of unprecedented growth and transformation in New York City. The city expanded rapidly, both in terms of population and physical size, becoming a bustling metropolis. The Industrial Revolution brought about new technologies and materials. Factories and workshops sprang up, producing goods at an unprecedented scale and speed. These advancements had a profound impact on the city's architecture. New materials like cast iron and steel allowed for innovative building techniques and designs. The Victorian era saw a surge in population, which led to the development of new neighborhoods and building types. Residential areas expanded, accommodating the influx of new residents. Victorian architecture was characterized by its eclecticism and ornamentation. Architects were not bound by a single style but instead drew from a rich palette of historical influences. Architects drew inspiration from a variety of historical styles including Gothic Revival, Italianate, and Second Empire. Each style brought its own unique elements and flair to the city's buildings. Buildings featured elaborate facades, intricate details, and a sense of romanticism. This romanticism was reflected in the ornate decorations and the overall aesthetic appeal of the structures. The rise of the cast iron facade was a defining feature of Victorian architecture in New York City. Cast iron was not only strong and durable but also allowed for intricate designs and patterns. Cast iron allowed for the creation of large windows and ornate details. These large windows brought in more natural light, making the interiors brighter and more inviting. This material revolutionized the way buildings were designed and constructed. It enabled architects to experiment with new forms and structures, pushing the boundaries of traditional architecture. The availability of new materials and manufacturing processes led to the development of new building types. These included department stores, hotels, and office buildings. These new structures catered to the needs of a growing urban population. The Victorian era left an indelible mark on New York City's architectural landscape. The buildings from this period are still celebrated for their beauty and historical significance. It was a period of experimentation and innovation. Architects were constantly exploring new ideas and techniques, leading to a diverse and dynamic architectural environment. Architects embraced new technologies and styles. They were pioneers, pushing the limits of what was possible in building design and construction. They created a city that was both grand and diverse. The architectural legacy of this period is a testament to their creativity and vision. The legacy of Victorian architecture can still be seen today in neighborhoods like Soho. These areas are renowned for their beautifully preserved buildings and historical charm, and the Upper West Side. These neighborhoods continue to attract residents and visitors alike, drawn by their unique architectural heritage and timeless appeal. Section 5. The birth of the skyscraper. Industrial might reshapes the skyline. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed the birth of the skyscraper in New York City, a city that was rapidly evolving and expanding. Advances in steel frame construction and the invention of the elevator made it possible to build taller than ever before, revolutionizing the architectural landscape. The skyscraper became a symbol of the city's ambition, innovation, and economic power, representing a new era of urban development. The Flatiron Building, completed in 1902, was one of the city's first skyscrapers, marking a significant milestone in architectural history. Its triangular shape and steel frame made it an instant icon, capturing the imagination of architects and the public alike. Other early skyscrapers, such as the Woolworth Building and the Metropolitan Life Tower, soon followed, each contributing to the evolving skyline. These buildings transformed the city's skyline, creating a vertical cityscape that was unlike anything seen before. The skyscraper era was fueled by a number of factors, including technological advancements and economic growth. Industrialization and immigration led to rapid population growth, bringing a diverse workforce to the city. This created a demand for new housing and office space, driving the need for taller buildings. The increasing value of land in Manhattan made it economically viable to build upwards, maximizing the use of limited space. The skyscraper was a solution to the challenges of a rapidly growing city, providing the necessary infrastructure for its expanding population. The rise of the skyscraper had a profound impact on New York City, reshaping its identity and its future. It led to the development of new construction techniques and architectural styles, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. It also changed the way people lived and worked, creating new opportunities and challenges in urban life. The skyscraper became a symbol of the city's modernity and its place as a global center of commerce and culture, embodying the spirit of progress and innovation. Section 6. Art Deco. Elegance, verticality and glamour between the wars. The Roaring '20s and the years leading up to the Great Depression saw the rise of Art Deco architecture in New York City. This period was marked by a sense of exuberance and a desire to break away from the past, embracing a new modern aesthetic. This style, with its emphasis on geometric shapes, luxurious materials, and a sense of streamlined modernity, captured the spirit of the Jazz Age. The use of bold, symmetrical patterns and opulent materials like chrome, glass, and marble reflected the era's fascination with progress and luxury. Art Deco skyscrapers such as the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building became symbols of the city's optimism and glamour. These towering structures not only showcased architectural innovation, but also represented the economic prosperity and cultural dynamism of the time. The Chrysler Building, completed in 1930, is considered one of the finest examples of Art Deco architecture in the world. Its design, featuring a series of terraced arches and a crown of stainless steel, epitomizes the elegance and sophistication of the Art Deco movement. Its shimmering stainless steel spire and intricate ornamentation made it an instant icon. The building's decorative elements, inspired by automotive motifs, highlight the era's fascination with speed and technology. The Empire State Building, completed just a year later, became the world's tallest building, a title it held for nearly 40 years. Its construction was a remarkable feat of engineering, involving thousands of workers and innovative building techniques. Its soaring height and Art Deco design made it a symbol of hope during the Great Depression. Despite the economic hardships of the time, the Empire State Building stood as a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. Art Deco architecture was not limited to skyscrapers. The style permeated various aspects of urban life, influencing the design of public and private spaces alike. The style also found expression in theaters, hotels, apartment buildings, and even subway stations. These structures, with their elegant facades and richly decorated interiors, brought a touch of glamour to everyday life. Radio City Music Hall, with its grand foyer and sweeping staircase, is a prime example of Art Deco's influence on interior design. The hall's lavish decor and innovative use of lighting created an atmosphere of opulence and modernity. The Art Deco era left an enduring legacy on New York City's architectural landscape. The buildings from this period continue to be celebrated for their artistic and historical significance. It was a period of great creativity and innovation, when architects embraced new materials and technologies to create buildings that were both beautiful and functional. The collaboration between architects, artists, and craftsmen resulted in some of the most iconic structures in the city. The style's emphasis on verticality, glamour, and a sense of optimism continues to inspire architects today. Contemporary buildings often draw on Art Deco elements, blending them with modern design principles to create spaces that are both timeless and forward-looking.